Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to today's episode of Modesty's Money Masterclass. This is season 2, episode number 16. I remain your man, Ikenna Ume Izudike. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you all had a very good weekend. I had a very lovely weekend myself. Took my boys to 2 tournaments back to back. We had more success in one of them than the others, and it gave me time to reflect on a few things, and then had time to relax as well with the family. And then here we are. I hope you're all looking fresh and you got refreshed over the weekend as well, getting ready to shoot on. Yes, last Monday I wasn't here because it was a bank holiday, and I wanted everyone to enjoy the bank holiday weekend with their families just like I did. And then we're here back again talking about something very unique. And it's weird today that we are going to be talking. Today's topic is almost like an irony. Today we are talking about the beauty of failure. I mean, who places beauty beside the word failure? They don't go hand to hand, do they? Yes, but that's what we do here. Sometimes we take the weird things and the weird combinations and try to make sense of them, because there is always sense in whatever you want to make sense of, and it's all on us to now devise a way of making sure that what we're actually saying makes sense. So when you talk about failure and you're talking about the beauty of failure, it will always sound like you are glamorizing failure. It will always sound like you are glorifying failure. It will almost sound like you are encouraging failure. I understand that. I get it. Trust me. But here is the deal, right? Failure is an outcome. Right? It's one of 2 possible outcomes in every endeavor that we take on. In everything that we choose to do, it is either success or failure. So either of those outcomes will have a consequence on the person who has undertaken that particular endeavor or that activity. If you succeed in it, it motivates you, it gladdens your heart, it encourages you, it makes you want a lot more. Think about football, for example. Think about football clubs that win trophies. When a football club wins one trophy, all of a sudden they become hungrier for more trophies. They want, the taste of success is so sweet that I do not want to lose that taste. I would want to taste it over and over again. And then the next season, they're striving, they're trying again to taste that success again, because they've tasted it before and they know how it feels and they want to taste it again. So success will motivate you to do more. What about failure? What does failure do for you? What does failure offer you as an individual? Now, this is where it becomes very, very important for you to really get hold of yourself and your emotion. Do you know that failure could have as much positive effect as success if you handle that failure properly? Right? It will be difficult for you to see any positivity out of failure. But then when you sit back and reflect, you will realize that if you handle the failures that you have come across or you have encountered in life properly, they are most likely going to have the same positive effect that success will have on you. And in fact, in some instances, some people have been motivated more by their failures than they have been motivated by their successes. Because sometimes a lot of people succeed in things and they underrate that success. And you will not appreciate success more unless you encounter failure. You will appreciate success more when you encounter failure. But if you continue to succeed and succeed and succeed and succeed, all of a sudden, it becomes a norm. You begin to underrate some of the things that you have been succeeding in. But when you are hit by one moment of failure, then you realize, there's actually another possible outcome in this. And then you begin to look at yourself again and say, what have I done wrong? Why did this go wrong? The moment you begin to question that, that is when the benefits of, encountering failure sets in. Now, what I'm trying to say here is not that I'm not trying to elevate failure over success, but I'm trying to open your mind and prepare your mind for what we're about to discuss about failure. Because a lot of people attach so much negative emotions to their failures that they allow the failures to drag them back, to drag them down, and to pull them out of line. And then they become confused, they become lost, and they become demoralized. And then you ask them, they will tell you that it was because they failed. That's why, they haven't succeeded in anything else. Because you failed in one thing does not mean you will fail in everything. Okay? So, if you fail, and then when it becomes actual failure and total failure is when you fail and you remain on the same spot where you have failed. But someone who has failed and moved on from that failure onto the next level of attempts, that's where you look back and say, that was just a phase. So every encounter with failure is a phase. How you rise above that phase and move on to the next phase of life and of that activity, of that attempt, is up to you. So people process and handle failures in different ways. They process and they handle failures in different ways. But what I want to speak to you today is the right way to handle failure. And therefore, I have come to speak to you what failure offers you. Do you know that failure offers you a lot more than you can ever think of? And that's where I want to focus on today. Because you might be thinking, what actually do I benefit from failure? What does failure offer me? Failure offers you a lot more than you can ever imagine. Now, let's dig deep into this. I've got 7 things I want to talk to you about today that failure offers you. Number one thing that failure offers you when you encounter it is an opportunity to review existing processes and improve on them. Failure offers you an opportunity to review existing processes and to improve on them. Because remember what I said, when you fail, you begin to ask yourself, why did I fail? Why did this not work out? Why did this business not work out the way I wanted it to work out? Why did this business not give me what I wanted it to give me? Why did this career not take me as far as I had expected it would have taken me by this time? That is the moment you start asking those questions. It is the probing of that failure that throws up the reasons, and those reasons now open your eye to things that might have been going wrong in your existing processes. Take your business, for example. Okay, why did this business not give me what I wanted it to give to me? And then you look at maybe your marketing, you could look at maybe your style of funding, you could look at the expenditures that came with the business. You could look at maybe your location, your siting. And I'm going to give you an example with one business of mine that failed. And the questions I asked myself when that business failed. When I was running my African shop where we sell African groceries in Luton, I had 2 shops initially. One of them was located in an area or at a place where there wasn't that many footfalls, right? And even though there wasn't that many footfalls, there wasn't actually, there was not a parking space where people could come and park and shop. And the footfalls, the few there, were not mostly of people of African origin. And that business was located on almost what you call a highway. The local council will call it a highway. I didn't see it as a highway because my definition of a highway was different. I thought a highway is like, the big express we talk about in Nigeria. But when the local authority writes me, they describe it as a highway. So it was, just on the side of the road, a very busy road, where a lot of cars would drive past, but not a lot of footfalls, right? And there wasn't parking. So people who wanted to come and shop there, they complained about parking. There's nowhere to park. We can't just come on, and if we park at the wrong place, you get a ticket. That's number one. And secondly, I now realized that the two shops I set up initially, I could actually bring them all under one roof, because one of the shops was selling African meat products, and the other was selling African African groceries. So I got, the feedback from some people who said, if we come to shop for African groceries, we would like to shop for the meat products all under one roof at the same time. How can we? And the two shops were too far apart each other, so it wasn't like they were next to each other. Okay, so I got that feedback, and now I closed down the meat shop, and I brought everything under one roof, right? And then I tried it again. It went on for some time, and then it didn't succeed again. I asked myself the question again, what am I doing wrong? I was reviewing those processes. So I realized that business was not really set up properly the way I was supposed to set it up. The market research and my SWOT analysis wasn't done really well. That wasn't really where my strength lied. My strength didn't lie in buying and selling physical products or groceries, African groceries. But I always knew that I wanted to run a business. Okay, so I kept on probing my business abilities and where my interest lies. So I felt that there was an opportunity here for me to take advantage of the African community in Luton, and I set up that business. But the business failed. It failed. I had to close down that shop, and then I moved on to something else. Now I focused on my service-based business then, which was shipping and cargo to Nigeria from the UK. So focusing on I realized that my strength was more in services rather than products, physical products. And then since then I focused on service-based business. So that's what the failure offered me at the time, was to review existing processes and to improve on them. And then upon the review of those existing processes in my existing business then, I realized that improving on them or trying to do anything on top of that would amount to waste of time and resources. So I had to channel the time and resources to something else. So in your business, failure could offer you, or your career, failure could offer you an opportunity to review existing processes and actually improve on them. Every business does it. Number two thing that failure offers you is an invitation. Yeah, mark the word, an invitation to go in a different direction. Okay? So sometimes people fail in certain things and they feel that is the end of the road. And you hear people saying, I am finished. If this business collapses, I am finished. If I lose this job, I am finished. If I don't get this admission, I am finished. Or if this relationship breaks down, I am finished. No, you are not finished. What is finished at that time is that phase, that stage of life is finished, not you. What that failure offers you at that point in time is an invitation to go in a different direction. You could go in a different direction in the same thing that you are doing. You could also go in a different direction in a totally different thing. Now, using my own case as an example, I went in a totally different business direction, which is from physical products to purely services rendering, where I now focused on my cargo business and my shipping business, and I totally abandoned the buying and selling because I realized it was taking a lot out of me and was giving me very little in return. So then I had a very young family then, and I couldn't give my young family the attention they needed because the business was so stressful for me. I had to wake up early in the morning at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to London to buy products, and I would continue shopping for products up until 6 a.m. in the morning. By the time I come back to Luton with those products, it will be 7 a.m. in the morning, and I will need to stack the shelf, and I'll need to display those products for customers to come in the morning. So I have to go back home, shower, get ready, come back, and then my wife will have to come to the shop with my little girl. Then we had only one child, and she was very little, and we, so it was really stressful. So I had to go in a totally different direction. I had to accept then that this business has failed and it's time to move on from it. So number 2 is that failure offers you an invitation to go in a totally different direction. And if you accept that invitation, that could be the biggest and the best decision you would ever make in life. So you take that invitation, you look at that invitation, you analyze the invitation. Because you have encountered failure already, you wouldn't want to fail almost immediately again. So then you take your time to review the invitation and then decide whether that invitation is worth attending to or not, and whether that invitation will make sense in the same thing you're doing but in a different direction or in a totally different environment. Number 3 thing that failure offers you is an opportunity to let go of unprofitable things that you are holding on to. An opportunity to let go of unprofitable things that you're holding on to. See, a lot of people have been hanging on to things that they should have let go a long time ago. And that thing has been holding them back, but they kept giving themselves this fake hope that, oh, it will work, it will work, it will work. Meanwhile, right within you, inside of you, you know that this thing is not going to work. And there are fundamentals that has given you the indication that it's not going to work. But then you keep pouring your resources into that thing. And then that particular thing keeps swallowing up all the resources you are pouring into it, and it keeps giving you back nothing. I did this myself as well when I was running that African shop business. I kept pouring, I was thinking, oh, it might be lack of investment. So every single money I get, I pour it into that business. The business opens up its mouth, swallows that investment, and returns nothing. I didn't have any savings then. I could barely save anything. I was really struggling financially. But then I was running my own business. And I kept telling myself, okay, the business is new. Let's give it 1 year. After 1 year, it's going to pick up, and then something is going to happen. Maybe 2 years, 3 years, as people get to know more about us. But then there are fundamentals that weren't adding up. So I kept giving myself that. So all the resources it was difficult for me to let go of that business because I wasn't too sure that I was making the right decision, until I had to sit down and tell myself, look, I've got to let go. If you want to move on, you've got to let go. Let go of that thing, that unprofitable thing, and then you will see that once you let go, it's just like holding something on your hand and closing that hand. The moment you let go of that thing and that thing you are holding on to falls off your hand, what happens? Your hand becomes free. It becomes free to do what? To receive. But as long as you're holding on to that thing, you cannot receive anything new. And what you're holding on to is not profitable. But the reason it is stopping you from receiving the profitable things that you need to receive, because you need to let go first before you can then receive. So when letting go means accepting that it's not working, so I'll let go. It happens even in relationships. Some friends that you have, you might struggle to let go of them because you think, we've been friends for a very long time, but they're unprofitable friends. The moment you let go of those unprofitable friends, a space appears and opens up in your friendship space. Profitable friends will occupy it. You begin to attract people that will become useful to you. So yes, the relationship might even be a husband and wife relationship, might be boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever type of relationship. But hey, I'm not here to talk about relationships, so I'm not asking you to dump your wife or to dump your husband. All I'm giving are instances, right? That there are instances where you have to let go so that you can receive something better. Number 4 thing that failure offers you is a better allocation of resources. And those resources could be time, there could be money, and there could be emotions. So the things that you have been spending money on and you have not been getting returns for that money, imagine if you spend that money on the right things. Imagine if you spend that money on the right business. Imagine if you let go of that failing business, that failing career, and stop allocating time to it. How much time you have put into. People don't realize that time is a resource, a very scarce one at that. You don't have that much time to waste. Before you know it, you're clocking 30, 40. Some people hit 30, they didn't even know when they got to 30 years of age. But when they were like 15, they were saying, by the time I'm 30, I would have got here. By the time I'm 30, I would have gone so far in life. And then all of a sudden, 30 hits them. And before you know, they hit 40. And then all of a sudden, they're celebrating their 50th birthday. And they're like, where has the time gone? That's how life is. So all the time you're pouring into those unprofitable things. If you let go of them, what failure does is that it enables you to channel those resources into something more useful and more profitable. Because you have accepted the reality that this thing is not working. So I'm not going to invest any more time, any more emotions, and any more resource into this thing. I'm going to take all that and I'm going to invest it in something else that I feel is going to work for me. It might be a tough start for you to start something, because some people might be, it's just the fear of starting afresh that is keeping and holding a lot of people back. But if you can shake off that fear of starting afresh and embrace it, and you can get yourself onto something better. Number 5 thing that failure offers you is it offers you life lessons that you can never learn anywhere else. You learn more from your failures than you learn from your successes. Yeah, because failure is an accumulation of several red flags. And you can only learn from that failure when you accept responsibility. But if you keep blaming other people for your failures, you will never learn anything from your failures, because you have exonerated yourself from blame. You have shielded yourself from the blame. You are always looking at external factors being the reason you failed. Oh, it's the government. Oh, it's the economy. Oh, it's the environment. Oh, it's the society. Oh, it's external influences. Oh, it's because of Brexit. Oh, it's this COVID. Oh, it's this. It's my family members. Oh, it's my brother. Everybody else is to blame except you. Your business fails, you blame somebody else. Your relationship fails, you blame somebody else. Your career fails, you blame somebody else. Your education fails, you blame everybody else is blamed. The only time you learn valuable lessons in failures is when you take responsibility. When you sit down and say, what did I do wrong? Not what did anybody else do wrong. What did I not do right in this thing? When you fail an exam, you sit down and say, where did I go wrong? Did I prepare enough? Did I give it enough attention? Or did I give it the wrong interpretation? When I was in secondary school, I didn't do well in mathematics in my secondary school. When I passed out of secondary school, I didn't do well in mathematics. My father had to take me to a mathematics specialist who took me in his wings and taught me how to pass mathematics exams and taught me how to work on mathematics problems. Mathematics, after my schooling, my secondary schooling, became one of my favorite subjects. I became so good at mathematics, I couldn't believe it, right? But why? Because I refused to blame anybody else. I said, maybe I didn't give it enough attention. Yes, the one-on-one tutor that I got was excellent, right? And he took me in and he taught me all those things. But I still had to take responsibility for not doing very well in mathematics, because I developed a cold feet towards, I just closed my mind to it that I'm not good at mathematics. And I told my dad, I'm not going to study any course in the university that involves mathematics because I can't do well in those courses. So I was looking for courses that did not involve mathematics in my university days. My dad said, no, you are going to go and see a mathematics specialist. My dad didn't go to school even, but he insisted I give it a go. And he found this man, and thank God, God bless him. God bless my dad. May he so rest in peace. But that was the biggest thing he did for me while he was still alive. So you don't learn anything from failure until you take responsibility. Number 6 thing that failure offers you is an encounter with the reality of taking actions. The moment you fail, you have already encountered the reality that it only takes actions for things to happen. But the moment, if you don't take action, you won't even have any outcome to analyze. It is only those who make moves, only those who take actions that encounter either success or failure. So when you encounter failure, it has already brought you onto the reality of, taking actions. It tells you the value of taking actions. Because then you already know that you cannot achieve anything until you take actions. So failure offers you that very important lesson of the reality of taking actions. And what it does, it now makes you to take more actions to correct the mistakes of the past, because then you are no longer scared of taking actions. And that takes us on to the next point, the final point, the last but not the least. Number 7 of what failure offers you. Failure removes from you the fear of trying, and then it opens your mind up to other opportunities. Okay? The moment you do a thing and it doesn't work, you are no longer scared of doing the next one. Because the first one didn't work, the fear of not trying, if that is your first attempt, then that's it. Then you go again. Because you have already taken the first bold step, which is to take action, to do something. If that one doesn't work, you are no longer scared of doing things because you've done it before. So all you need to do is to do the same, take action, but a different kind of action. But people who are always scared of taking actions, they have never failed. And those are the ones who have never succeeded and who will never succeed. All right? So take pride in the fact that you tried and you failed. But then that will now remove the fear of trying, because you will now be bold enough to try again because you were bold enough to try in the first place. And then it opens up your mind. So you now begin to operate with an open-minded, with such an alarming open-mindedness. You are now open to other opportunities. People now bring business opportunities to you. You are willing to look at it because you know all it takes is action for this to happen. And because you have already dealt with the fear of taking action, you have already dealt with the fear of trying, you are not scared of trying something new. Because failure has removed all those fears from you. So rather than allow failure intimidate you and stop you from trying again, take it as an invitation to be open-minded to other opportunities. You have no idea the kind of things I have tried, as an individual in this country, as a self-employed, to succeed. And the reason I kept trying and trying everything I could was because I'm no longer scared of trying. The worst possible outcome will be failure. And if that happens, yes, I will learn from that lesson and then I move on. So these are the 7 things that failure offers you. But these 7 things will only be useful to you if you accept responsibility and if you handle failure properly. So thank you so very much for being here today, and thank you so very much for taking part in today's session. And I wish you all a very lovely, lovely, wonderful day. And join us again on Wednesday, 12 o'clock, same place, for our Modesty's Property Corner, where we discuss everything properties and mortgages. Thank you very much. God bless you, and see you on Wednesday, and I'll see you again same time on Monday on our Modesty's Money Masterclass. I remain your man, Ikenna Umezudike. God bless you. Take care. Bye now.